Most people are taught to fear debt completely, avoid it, pay it off as fast as possible, and never rely on it unless absolutely necessary. But the top 1% often use debt in a completely different way. Instead of using it to buy liabilities or survive month to month, they use strategic debt to acquire assets, grow businesses, invest, and create more cash flow over time. The difference isn't just the amount of money they have, it's how they understand leverage and risk compared to the average person. Today we will talk about how the top 1% use debt to get rich while you stay stuck. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel 10. Most people are told that all debt is bad. From a young age, many people are taught one simple financial rule: avoid debt at all costs. Credit card debt, loans, borrowing money, it is all presented as dangerous and financially irresponsible. And for many people, debt absolutely does become destructive. High interest payments, financial stress, and long repayment cycles trap millions of people every year. But there is another side to debt that wealthy people understand very differently. The top 1% often do not see debt only as a burden. They see it as a tool. The difference is not just debt itself. It is how debt is used. 9. Poor debt consumes money. Strategic debt creates assets. The biggest difference between average debt and wealthy debt is what the borrowed money is used for. Most people borrow money to buy things that lose value over time. Expensive cars, lifestyle upgrades, gadgets, vacations, or consumption they cannot truly afford yet. This type of debt removes future income because repayment continues long after the excitement disappears. Wealthy people often use debt differently. They borrow to acquire assets that can grow, generate income, or increase in value over time. One type of debt drains cash flow. The other has the potential to create it. 8. The rich understand leverage better than most people. One of the most powerful financial concepts wealthy people use is leverage. Leverage means using borrowed money strategically to control larger assets or opportunities than personal cash alone would allow. Real estate is one of the clearest examples. Instead of waiting decades to buy properties entirely with cash, wealthy individuals often use financing to acquire appreciating assets earlier. If the asset grows faster than the cost of the debt, leverage increases wealth dramatically over time. Most people only see debt as risk, while wealthy people also see its potential for expansion. 7. Banks treat the wealthy differently because risk looks different. Another reality many people do not notice is that debt works differently depending on your financial position. Wealthy people usually have assets, investments, cash flow, and collateral. Because of this, banks often offer them lower interest rates and better financial terms. Meanwhile, financially struggling people often face higher interest rates, penalties, and expensive borrowing conditions. This creates a system where money becomes cheaper for people who already have wealth, and more expensive for people who lack it. The structure itself widens financial gaps over time. 6. The top 1% use debt to protect cash flow. Many wealthy individuals borrow money even when they technically have enough cash to buy something directly. Why? Because they understand the importance of liquidity and cash flow. If their money is invested in assets generating returns, they may prefer borrowing at a lower interest rate instead of pulling money out of productive investments. In other words, they protect the growth of their assets while using debt strategically. Most people think wealthy individuals avoid borrowing completely, but many actually use borrowing carefully to maintain leverage and preserve investment growth. 5. Average people use debt emotionally. Wealthy people use it mathematically. One of the biggest differences is psychological. Many people use debt emotionally. They borrow because they want instant gratification, temporary status, or short-term comfort. Wealthy people usually approach debt more mathematically. Before borrowing, they often analyze whether the debt will increase future cash flow, create growth, or provide strategic advantage. The decision is based more on long-term numbers than emotional desire. This difference completely changes financial outcomes over time. 4. Consumer debt and asset debt are not the same thing. Most people group all debt together. But financially, they function very differently. Consumer debt usually funds liabilities, things that lose value and continue costing money. Asset-based debt aims to acquire things that can appreciate, generate income, or increase future value. A financed luxury purchase that loses value every year creates pressure. A financed business, investment, or property that produces cash flow may create leverage. The wealthy understand this distinction deeply, while many people never fully learn the difference. 3. Debt amplifies financial behavior. Debt itself is not automatically good or bad. It amplifies existing financial behavior. If someone lacks discipline, borrows emotionally, and spends impulsively, debt becomes destructive quickly. But if someone understands cash flow, investing, risk management, and long-term planning, debt can become a growth tool. This is why two people can use borrowing in completely different ways and end up with opposite outcomes. One becomes financially trapped. The other increases assets and wealth over time. 2. Most people stay stuck because debt controls their future income. The real reason many people remain financially stuck is because their debt removes future flexibility. Large portions of future income become tied to past purchases. Credit cards, car payments, and high-interest loans reduce the ability to invest, save, or take opportunities later. Wealthy people try to minimize debt that destroys cash flow, while maximizing debt that increases assets or future earning potential. One type of debt creates dependency. The other can create leverage. 1. The real secret: the wealthy learn to control debt instead of being controlled by it. The deeper truth is not that the rich love debt. It is that they understand how to structure and control it strategically. They avoid emotional borrowing while using leverage to acquire appreciating assets and opportunities. Most people borrow for lifestyle upgrades. Wealthy people often borrow for ownership and expansion. The outcome becomes completely different because the purpose behind the debt is different. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.